I remember when I first started preaching, when I was about 19 to 20 years old, and I was newly married and I had a nursing home ministry, and I got up and preached a sermon against Catholicism, and my ministry leader at my church took me aside and said, listen, you can't preach that here. And I wasn't even preaching like I'm preaching this morning. And here's the thing. But, I'm on his turf. He's my ministry leader. And he said, hey, you can't preach against the Roman Catholic Church by name because there's Catholics here. And I wasn't even saying anything radical. I just said, hey, they're teaching false doctrine. They're teaching you to work your way to heaven. You got to believe on Jesus to be saved. It's all by faith. It's not of works. It's not through sacraments and pagan rituals. And he took me aside and said, you can't do that. He said, just preach the truth, but don't preach against that which is false. This is in a King James, soul-winning, independent, fundamental Baptist church. Don't preach against what's false. Just preach what's true. Just preach that we're saved by faith alone. But don't say that the Catholics teach that it's not. So I just said, oh, okay. All right. So I come back the next week with my sermon. And I'd made a little visit to the Catholic bookstore in between. And I get up and I write a sermon, because we only preach for 15 minutes in the nursing home. And so the ministry leader's there. I get up and preach for 15 minutes, and I did exactly what he said. I said, I preach, hey, it's by faith. We don't need any mediator. And I went through every Catholic doctrine without mentioning the Catholic Church. I just said, hey, we don't need a mediator. We don't need to pray to anyone but Jesus. And he's just sitting there smiling. And, oh, it's so good. You're doing it right. And then I get to the very last minute, and I said, let me tell you something about the Roman Catholic Church. And I looked right at this old man that told me no, the ministry leader. He wasn't the pastor of the church or anything, though. He's just the guy who ran this nursing home ministry. Let me tell you something about the Roman Catholic Church. And then I went on a rant about it, and then I pulled a picture out. I said, this sissy, this isn't Jesus. This long-haired sissy is the product of somebody's imagination. I tore it up and threw it on the ground. So I went and sat down. My wife was there when this was a long time ago, but so then, afterward, he came up to me and said, good sermon. Thank you. That's what happened. So I'm just telling the story as it happened. That's how it happened. My wife was there. My sister might have been there. I don't remember. But that's how it happened. Why? Sometimes you just have to have the guts to just stand up and tell people, no, because I'm going to preach the truth. And this thing of, we don't want to offend Catholics, I do. Maybe I'll offend them to the point where they'll realize that cracker is going to damn them to hell.